The Long Winter, Laura Ingalls Wilder. Chapter 13. We'll weather the blast. Mixed with those wild voices, Laura heard the clattering of stove lids and Pa's singing. Oh, I am happy as a big sunflower that nods and bends in the breeze. Caroline, Pa called up the stairs, the fires will be going good by the time you get down here. I'm going to the stables. Laura heard Ma stirring. Lie still, girls, she said. No need for you to get up till the house is warmer. It was terribly cold outside and out of the bed covers, but the roaring and shrilling of the storm would not let Laura sleep again. The frosted nails in the roof above her were like white teeth. She lay under them only a few minutes before she followed Ma downstairs. The fire was burning brightly in the cook stove, and in the front room the heater's side was red hot, but still the rooms were cold and so dark that it did not even seem like daytime. Laura broke the ice on the water in the water pail. She filled the wash basin and set it on the stove. Then she and Ma waited, shivering, for the water to warm so that they could wash their faces. Laura had begun to like living in town, but this was the same old winter time. When Pa came in, his whiskers were blown full of snow and his nose and ears were cherry red. Jerusalem crickets! This is a humdinger, he exclaimed. Good thing the stable is tight. I had to dig my way into it. Snow was packed as high as the door. Lucky I put your clothesline where I did, Caroline. I had to come back to the lean-to to get the shovel, but there was a clothesline to hang on to. Hot pancakes, fried pork looked good to me. I'm hungry as a wolf. The water was warm in the wash basin for him, and while he washed and combed his hair at the bench by the door, Laura set the chairs to the table. Ma poured the fragrant tea. The hot cakes were good, with crisp slices of fat pork and brown and amber grease from the pan, and dried applesauce with sugar syrup besides. There was no butter, for Ellen was nearly dry, and Ma divided last of the milk between Grace and Carrie. Let's be thankful for this little milk we have, she said, because there'll be less before there's more. They were chilly at the table, so after breakfast they all gathered around the heater. In silence they listened to the winds and the sounds of the snow driven against the walls and windows. Ma roused herself with a little shake. Come, Laura, let's get the work done. Then we can sit by the fire with the ease of conscience. In that well-built house, it was strange that the fire did not warm the kitchen. While Ma put the beans to parboil and Laura washed the dishes, they wondered how the cold it was now out at the claim shanty. Ma put more coals on the fire and took the broom, and Laura shivered at the foot of the stairs. She must go and make the beds. But the cold came down the stairs and went through her woolen dress and petticoats, the red flannels, as she was standing there, and as if she was in her bare skin. We'll leave the beds open to air, Laura, said Ma. They're upstairs out of sight, and you can do them when the house warms up. She finished sweeping the kitchen, and all the work was done. They went back to the front room, and sitting down, they put their cold feet on the footrests of the heater to warm. Pa went into the kitchen and came back in his big coat and muffler, his cap in his hand. I'm going across the street to Fuller's to hear of the news." "Must you, Charles?" asked Ma. "Somebody may be lost," he answered, putting on his cap. He went to the door, but paused to say, "Don't worry about me. I know how many steps it takes to get across the street, and if I don't strike a building, then I'll go no further. I will turn around and come home." He shut the door behind him. Laura stood at the window. She had cleared the peephole through the frost, but she saw only whiteness, blank whiteness. She could not see Pa at the door, nor tell when he left it. She went slowly back to the heater. Mary sat silently rocking Grace. Laura and Carrie just sat. "Now, girls," Ma said, "the storm's outdoors. It's no reason for all the gloom in the house." "What good is it to be in town?" Laura said. "We're just as much ourselves as if we weren't in the town." "I hope you don't expect to depend on anybody else, Laura." Ma was shocked. "A body can't do that." "But if we weren't in town, Pa wouldn't have to go out in the blizzard to find out if someone else was lost." "Be that as it may," Ma said firmly, "it is time for our Sunday school lessons. We will each say the verse we learned this week. Then we will see how many of the old lessons we can remember." First Grace, then Carrie, then Laura, then Mary, and Ma repeated their verses. "Now, Mary," Ma said, "you tell us a verse, then Laura will do the same, and then Carrie. See which one can keep on the longest." "Oh, Mary will beat," Carrie said, discouraged before she began. "Come on, I'll help you," Laura urged. "Two against one isn't fair," Laura objected. "It is too fair," Laura contradicted. "Isn't it, Ma? When Mary's been learning Bible verses so much longer than Carrie has." "Yes," Ma decided. "I think it is fair enough, but Laura must only prompt Carrie." So they began. They went on and on until Carrie could not remember even one more when Laura prompted her. Then Mary and Laura went on, each one against the other, until at last Laura had to give up. She hated to admit that she was beaten, but she had to. "You beat me, Mary. I can't remember another one." "Mary beat, Mary beat, Mary beat," Gracie said, clapping her hands, and Ma smiled to Mary. "That's my bright girl." They all looked at Mary, who was looking at nothing, with her large, beautiful blue eyes that had no sight in them. She smiled with joy when Ma praised her, and then her face changed as the light does when the blizzard comes. For a minute she looked as she used to look when she could see, and she and Laura were quarreling. She never would give up to Laura because she was older and the boss. Then her whole face blushed pink, and in a low voice she said, "I didn't beat you, Laura. We're even. I can't remember another verse either." Laura was ashamed. She had tried so hard to beat Mary at a game, but no matter how hard she tried, she could never be as good as Mary. Mary was truly good. Then, for the first time, Laura wanted to be a school teacher so that she could make money to send Mary to college. She thought, "Mary is going to college no matter how hard I have to work to send her." At that moment, the clock struck 11 times. "My goodness, the dinner!" Ma exclaimed. She hurried into the kitchen to stir up the fire and season the bean soup. "Better put more coals on the heater, Laura," she called. "Seems like the house wasn't warming up like it should have been." It was noon before when Pa came in. He came in quietly and went to the heater, where he took off his coat and cap. "Hang up these for me, will you, Laura? I'm pretty cold." "I'm sorry, Charles," Ma said from the kitchen. "I can't seem to get the house warm." "No wonder. Pa said. It's 40 degrees below. And this wind is driving in the cold. This is the worst storm yet, but luckily everyone is accustomed and everyone is accounted for. Nobody's lost in town. After dinner, Pa played a hymn of tunes on his fiddle, and they all sang. They sang Ma's favorite, There is a happy land far, far away, and just before Pa laid the fiddle in the box, just before Pa laid the fiddle in the box, because the time had come when he must get up and go to the stables and take care of the stock, he played a gallant, challenging tune that brought them all to their feet, and they all sang. Then let the hurricane roar, it will sooner be o'er. The hurricane was roaring, and the icy snow was hard as buckshot, and the fine as sand was whirling, swirling, beating up upon the house.